Hi, my name is Sheyakilide. I'd like to welcome you to my CCNA training. In this training, I would like to demonstrate to you on how you can create VLANs and assign interfaces to your VLANs. Okay, okay. So we brings me to the first fact that what is a VLAN? Now, a VLAN is a virtual local area network. Okay, um, now the what brought about VLANs was that previously if you want to create a network, you need to buy a switch, and with that switch you have one network. Okay, so all your pieces are connected to the switch, so that makes it one network. So if you want to create another network, so that means you need to get another physical switch, another, or let's say you have three buildings and you want to segment your network. So that means that previously that means that you need to get a switch for each floors, for each segment and all that. And now, one thing that Switch does is that Switch on the Switch you have just one broadcast domain. Okay, so that means that if a PC, this PC is trying to send an information, if it send a broadcast, all other PCs on that switch would have to receive that broadcast. Okay, whether the message concerns them or not. So that has actually brought a couple of issues like broadcast storm and all that, delay, making use of bandwidth and all that. So creating a lot of delay in your network, because if there's a lot of if a lot of pieces are trying to send broadcasts at the same time, then you're gonna have a broadcast storm, so it's gonna delay traffic on your network. Just realize some things are getting slow and all that, you're finding it very difficult to reach your file server and all that. So it came up with a concept called VLAN. So what VLAN does is that one of the benefits of VLAN is that VLAN first helps us to increase our broadcast domain, which means that in a normal switch, a physical switch, you're meant to have one broadcast domain. But introducing VLAN is going to help us to have multiple broadcast domains, which is good for our network. Okay, which means that you're only limiting your broadcast to a certain set of interfaces. Okay, so let's say PC1 and 2 are in the same VLAN now, so you're just limiting your broadcast. Okay, your broadcast is just going to be limited to PC0 and PC1 in this network on this switch. So VLAN help us to reduce our numbers of broadcast domain in our network. Okay, another benefit is that it helps us to segment our network easily. Now, you don't have to purchase multiple switches for you to segment your network. All you just need to do is have one VLAN, create multiple VLANs on that switch, and you'll be able to segment your network. Okay, so that has really helped us to reduce our cost of repurchasing several switches and all that. And also for easy management, we can easily manage, easily create a new VLANs and create new VLANs, manage our switch, using VLANs, picking an interfaces, creating a VLAN, connecting an interface to one VLAN and all that. So it helps us to ease management in our switch, helps us to ease management of users and all that. The other thing is that it helps us logically segment our network. Now, if I'm going to create four VLANs on this switch, that means I'm creating four extra networks. Okay, which is I'm trying to segment my network into four places. So prior to that, in previous time, you prefer to go purchase a switch. Okay, so that means you're purchasing four extra switches. But with the VLAN, it helps us logically segment our network. Okay, it helps us to also improve security. So that means that the thing about VLAN is that if I'm segmenting my network, don't forget that on a router, broadcast domain does when you're segmenting your network, you've divided your network into several parts. Pardon me. So by doing that, that means that you need a router for them to interconnect. So that means that my finance department won't be able to reach my IT department. Okay, so that means that I can create, it's a form of security for me to say, okay, I don't want finance to reach um my IT department. I don't want the, but we can do that. We can achieve routing between the four VLANs using inter-VLAN routing, which we're going to get to in another video. But in this video, my focus is just to show you how you can create VLANs, show you what the benefit of VLANs, and how you can configure and verify your VLANs. Okay, so that's the essence. So I've created, so let's log into our switch now. To configure our VLAN. Okay, so now I'm using my packet tracer, like you can see. So I'm using a 2950 switch, that's a 24 port switch. So my goal is to create four VLANs. Okay, so I do my EN enable mode to go into my privilege mode, conf T to go into my configuration mode. So what I want to do I want to change my host name. So I do host name, host name switch 1. Okay, so I'm good. So the first thing I want to do now is to create my VLAN. So to do your VLAN, just type VLAN 10. You've already created, you're in your VLAN modes now. So I can name my VLANs. Okay, I say my first one is name. I'm naming it as sales. I have sales, operations, IT, and finance. So I'm starting with my sales VLAN 10. Okay, so I name it as sales. Okay, so I create my VLAN 2, my VLAN 20. I create it as operations. Okay, VLAN 20. Yes, name as operations. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. There are two ways I could actually create my VLANs. I could actually create it first by creating the VLAN, or I assign an interface to the VLAN I'm about to create, and it creates that VLAN for me automatically. That's another approach. Okay, so I've done the first approach. That's to go into your VLAN mode and create the VLANs, or I go into my interface mode to create my VLAN. So let me go into my interface mode now to create my VLANs. So I'll go into so I exit my VLAN mode, right? So I go into my interface. So let me check the interface this VLAN is meant to be. This interface is meant to be on VLAN 10, so to speak. Let me see, it's supposed to be on VLAN 10. It's meant to be on VLAN 10. Okay, so I go into my interface. Okay, do it this way. Do show interface brief. Do show IP. Do show IP interface brief. Okay, so I want to know the interface that is up. My interface 1 is up. Okay, that's for sales. Interface 4 is for operations. Interface 8 and 10. Okay, so 1, 4, 8 and 10. Okay, so 8 is for IT. Okay, so we go back now and go into my interface mode. So interface FA0/8. Okay, so I'm now in my interface mode. So now to add an interface to a VLAN, all you need to do is that I do my switch port. Now switch port mode access. Now by default, every interface on the switch is always on the trunking, is always in the trunk mode. Okay, but I won't go deep into that. I just want to show you this. It's just for an introduction into my trunking class. So I do my switch port mode access. So I do switch port access VLAN 30. So you see the information I have is the access VLAN does not exist. Okay, so creating VLAN 30. So I just created my VLAN 30 and added an interface to my VLAN. Okay, so that's the second method. That's me creating a VLAN in my interface mode. So let me use my normal let me go back to my VLAN mode to create my third VLAN. So I do VLAN 40, name as finance. Okay, so now I've created all my VLANs now. So for me to verify my VLANs, I just type on my global configuration. I just do show VLAN. Do show VLAN brief. Yes. Okay, so it shows me all the VLANs I've configured. So I have VLAN 10, 20, 30, and 40. Now, because I created my VLAN here in my interface mode, that's why I can't name it VLAN 30. That's why it's not named here as IT. So for me to do that, I need to go into my VLAN mode. So I do my VLAN 30, name as IT. So I go back into my do show VLAN brief. Okay, so you see now my interface 30 is now on IT, is now named as IT. So what I need to do now is just to add interfaces to these VLANs, because if I don't add interface to them, they're automatically in VLAN 1. Okay, now VLAN 1 is our default VLAN. It's considered as our default VLAN, also as our management VLAN. Okay, so that means that if I'm in VLAN 1, then that means I can't reach VLAN IT, because my interface is still in VLAN. So I need to take my interface off from the VLAN 1 and bring it into VLAN 10. Okay, so what I need to do is that to do that, do go into my interface mode again, interface FA01. So I use my switch ports mode access. Okay, so I do my switch ports mode access again, switch ports access VLAN 10. Okay, so interface 1 is now in VLAN 10, so my interface 4 now moves to VLAN 20. So I do interface FA04. So I do my switch port mode again, switch port mode access, switch ports access VLAN 10, VLAN 20. Okay, so I do for my, so I've done for VLAN 30, so I need to do for my VLAN 40. So I do interface FA010, but that's the interface I want to add to my VLAN 20. So I do my switch port mode access, do my switch port mode again, switch port access VLAN 40. Okay, so to do that, so to verify if all my interfaces are now on my VLAN, so I do my do show interface VLAN brief. Do show interface VLAN brief. Okay, let me move to my, okay, so do show IP and do show interface VLAN brief. Okay, oh, do show VLAN, sorry about that. I was wondering, show VLAN. So if you see now, so I have my sales, my operations, my IT VLANs, and I have the assigned interfaces on those VLANs. Okay, so what I want to do now is to test my VLANs to see if my VLANs, the goal of this is to ensure that my VLAN 10 can ping VLAN 20, VLAN 20 can ping VLAN 40, and all that. So here I have 4 different networks as you speak. So for me to subnet them, that means that I have to use a standard addition of 26. Okay, so let me quickly add that to it, my network. So 192.168.10.0 silent addition 26. Okay, so for me to, so that means that they're all on 4 separate networks. So what I need to do is that I need to ensure that, so this network, this IP address will be from 192.168.10.0 network /26. Okay, so this VLAN 20 will be on 192.168.10. That's an addition of 32. Yeah, so that will be 32, 26, no, 26, 64. That will be 64. Oh, sorry, 192.168.10.64. iPhone 26. Okay, so I do the same thing here. I do 192.168.10.128 /26. So the last one is going to be 192. So 192.168.10.192 network / cell addition of 26. Okay, so now we're good. So they're all on 4 separate networks. Okay, because there are 4 different VLANs, so they are seen now as 4 different physical switches. There are 4 logical switches. There are 4 different networks. Okay, so they can be seen as 4 different logical switches. Okay, so what I need to do now is to assign IP address to all of my interface and see to ping, because they're not on they're on 4 different networks. Okay, so they are not meant to be able to ping each other. Apart from the fact that they are on 4 different networks, the concept of VLAN is to ensure that they won't be able to ping each other, because they're really on separate networks, so they won't be able to ping each other. So even using without even configuring my pings, with using these 4 separate networks, so they won't be able to ping each other. Okay, so in my next video, I'll show you how we would configure this network so they could ping each other using my inter-VLAN routing. Okay, thank you very much for this video. I hope this video is very informative to you. And thank you for viewing and have a nice day.